Welcome to Raw Radio.
And we are live.
Here we go again.
I can't wait for this.
For what?
What is that word?
We'll get to that in a second. We just finished talking to the general. If you don't know who he is, check him out. He's done some amazing things in this sport.
Fabio Gurgel.
Fabio Gurgel. And he brought up a bunch of interesting topics, right? Sometimes we only can think of one thing to talk about afterwards, the one takeaway, but we have a bunch of stuff written down. And one of the things that he talked about that I found out you're unfamiliar with this word is introspection. And
I have claimed for many years that I am foreign, and I'm sticking with it. I do not know what this means.
First I'm going to get you for Christmas this year. You're getting a word of the day calendar, so so that you can peel off the sheet. And
do they have an app for that?
Word. And not only am I going to get it for you, I want you to work it in. That word into each adult fundamentals class.
This is going to get into. We just lost half of the students.
No.
All right,
so I'll give you the real definition.
All right,
so that I don't give you.
Break this down.
Yeah.
Break this down for me.
Well, basically, it's can you look within yourself and critique yourself? But the real definition. Hold on, I got to get my glasses because I'm old as hell. The examination or observation of one's own mental and emotional process. Right. So can you be reflective about what you do, what you think? And for me, it's can you be critical of it? You know, you've got to be able to look at yourself and not just say, you know, he talked about, winning is great. And you can walk away from a win and be like, yeah, I'm awesome. Or you can walk away from a win and go, everything didn't quite go according to plan. How can I get better? Even though I won, how can I get better? And he talked about losing and how when you lose, you need to look and see how you can get better, right? And so if you want to talk about it in jiu-jitsu terms, it's you know, when you're on the mat, how can I improve? What did I learn, right? Even though I got, you know, even if I won, I had a great roll. I'm sure at some point, you know, unless you're going up against me, you got swept. There was some attempts at submissions, things of that nature. Are you able to, even though you came out on top, say what can I learn from this? How can I get better? You know, that's how it applies to jiu-jitsu. Let's see how it applies to you.
All right, so we're done with this
life.
takeaway. Gary said everything he wanted to say. First of all, if you're still confused as far as what word was I want you to go to our website and I want you to like the takeaway for Fabio Gurgel. Just press the little heart on the blog. That way we'll know, and you'll see we're getting like thousands of likes on that post right now because everybody's confused. But listen, no, you make a very valid point, right? One of the things that General talked about was this area of improvement no matter what is happening. And I think that's what you're talking about. It is the outlook on the outcome that we have achieved or we have received from what we are doing, right? And often, either we are not satisfied with the outcome and we say, screw this, jiu-jitsu sucks, I'm going to quit today, and I'm done.
Yeah, a lot of people feel that way from time to time.
Well, yeah, I mean, they do, right? Or there's the other extreme when they say, yeah, I got this submission. I'm going to forget about this. Let's move on to something else. Mm-hmm. Let's do flying squirrels and rolling triangles and whatever other stuff fancy stuff you saw on Instagram or Facebook clip, right? But what we don't do often is the kind of evaluation of what happened and deeper look inside and start asking ourselves a question. Okay, this went well, but how can I make this better next time? Or the opposite side of the spectrum. Well, this sucked, but let's understand why it sucked, and let's make progressive steps towards making this suck less next time, right?
Yeah.
And I think just thinking about it puts us in a good point of evaluating what happened. 2, it makes us reevaluate the situation as a whole, and then hopefully allows us to develop a plan to make a small change. And this is not, I'm not saying this that you should look at every failure as a failure and completely just, try to make a forklift change. What I'm referring to is a small change over time, right? This often is talked about 1% change, right? Make a small change, make it consistent, make it frequent, and that 1% will convert into much larger impact on what you're trying to achieve.
Yeah, and you can even take it deeper. What about me made it awesome, or what about me made it suck, right? What is my mindset, and what led up to this, and then how do you grow from it and figure that out? Think about it. Take the time to self-reflect. It sounds really new agey or hippie or bullshit, whatever you want to call it, but take some time out of your day and sit back and think about, how did today go? How did my roles go? How did work go? How was I in traffic? Did somebody do?
Is this a flashback to your old days?
It's
working?
No, it's a flashback to yesterday where somebody did something really stupid, and I was like, my attitude of it at yesterday was,
that's why you were cranky.
No, it was, what are you thinking, lady? Like, what?
That's not what you thought.
Yeah, it is. It is. But 3-4 years ago, there would have been some expletives,
bunch of censored words,
sprinkled all over, like salt on dinner. But I had to think about what got me to that place. Not yesterday, but how did I go from being the guy that would have been like, what the F are you stupid son of a, to what made you think that was going to be a smart move, or how is that going to work out for you? Well,
often we look at others as a justification for what is happening to us.
Oh, for sure. Yeah.
It's like, oh, this is not my fault. They so-and-so did blah, blah, blah. This is out of my control.
Yeah.
I call BS on all of this.
Yeah.
Anytime. I mean, there are situations where are completely out of our control, but most of the time those situations shouldn't be impacting us.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, we are in control and in charge of us. Whatever decision that we make, it has a direct impact on who we are, what we do, and how we feel. Mm-hmm. So if your behavior around me is, and that's something that Kid Peligro talked about, right? He does not want to have anybody around him who has a negative vibe.
Yeah,
he doesn't matter. You're a world champion. You're a phenomenal athlete. Whatever the case is, your attitude sucks. I'm out of here.
Yeah,
you can stick around. I'm leaving, right? And in a similar fashion, Fabio Gurgel talked about it too. And one of the things I wrote down in my notebook is be hard with yourself, be gentle with others. And that is very huge outlook on life, very difficult to achieve, but very interesting outlook on life. Be critical of yourself, right? But be gentle on other people. Yeah. Work with other people at the same time, really understand what you're doing, why you're doing this, right? I often talk about why. Understand why. Why is huge. Once we achieve those points, I think life is, first of all, we have a very different outlook on life and situations, but two, often our situations change. And the outcome is significantly different than if we point a finger at somebody else and we blame finger. But what's hard about this is that sometimes it is a mindset. Mm-hmm. It is all about mindset. And sometimes it's very difficult to get out of that mindset because it's so much easier to say, well, this is not my fault.
Yeah.
It's that, it's my spouse, it's my kids, it's my boss, it's my coworker, it's my brother, it's my family.
Yeah.
My training partner is much better than me. I couldn't get out of there.
Well, that could be true, but that's not a reason. Your response to that should be, he's much better than me. How do I get better?
Right.
I always look at it like if I did a little bit better against person X than I did last week, that's a victory.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't submit that person. I didn't come close to submitting that person, but I did better than I did last week, right? And how did I do better? I learned from my previous experience. I didn't react to my previous experience. The reaction would have been, I'm never going to roll with him again, or I'm going to go super hard next time, see how he likes it. I didn't react. I was introspective. Is that a word? I thought about it. I took the time to be like, okay, A, B, C happened. How did I react to those things? What did I do during that situation? And what can I do to be better? And if you can apply that to all aspects of your life, you're going to be a happier person. The people around you are going to be happier.
And you're going to have more success.
Yeah, for sure.
In general,
absolutely.
whatever that means to you.
Yeah.
Right. I had an interesting conversation kind of bleeding into this topic last night with one of the students. We talked about different methods of training and how to train with different people. And we kind of took three different scenarios. The individual was a purple belt, and we talked about, well, how does he train with the white belts? And how does he train with his peers, somebody who is more or less same skill set? And then how does he train with somebody who's by far more experienced than him? And it was interesting to listen to him, how his approach is. But essentially, he said this is all about goal setting. It's all about really finding ways to make these adjustments, not make it easier for himself, but make adjustments, and by adjusting his approach. So what he's essentially said, if he's training with somebody who is less skilled, he will work on something by far more smaller. He's working on balance. He's not interested to smash a white belt, but he's interested in experimenting with balancing. How can I off-balance that person? How can I shift the balance to the side? How can I distribute the weight differently? How can I understand the unpredictable factor of a white belt?
Right.
How can I be one step ahead? If he trains with his peers, is it a little bit more challenge? Now he's actually challenging himself. He's trying to test himself. Now, once he's going with somebody who's by far more experienced, perhaps a black belt, here was a recognition that's like, me tapping that guy is going to be by far more difficult. So my goal or my success factor is maybe making one step, maybe regaining my grips, or maybe not allowing them to grip, something that is achievable, but at the same time, it gives me a factor of, hey, I achieved this goal. I succeeded here, right? So it's not about tapping people or smashing. It's more about looking at how you can improve and change your process between these different situations, different circumstances, right?
Yeah. And then you take that off the mat. How can I change this circumstance at work? How can I change this circumstance at home, right? For the better. I think anytime you're being introspective, you are seeking an answer to make things better, so that when you're in this situation again, no matter what it is, the outcome is going to be more successful for you and the people around you. What does that mean? That means if your kid does something dumb for the 500th time, maybe the 499 reactions that you had to it before were the wrong one.
Maybe.
Right? And maybe now you take a different approach and they stop doing whatever it is they were doing. In parenting, fear doesn't, I don't think.
Do you do the same strategy with your boss?
No, my boss is beyond help. I gave up on him a long time ago.
Is that because he's foreign?
No. There's nothing to do with that. And I don't know what kind of picture you're trying to paint of me. But, take a look at the situation, see why you're in it. If it's something that's reoccurring, obviously what you're doing isn't working. How do you make it better? And you take the time and you think about it and you develop a plan. And maybe it's you that needs to change. Maybe the kid, that dumb thing they're doing is natural. It's normal. It's what they're supposed to do at that age. You know, I always used to tease Margaret that our daughter was perfect, right? She's perfect. She's perfect just the way she is. She's talking back to me all the time. That's what she's supposed to do at that age. It sucks. You hate it.
When is this episode going to air? Because you will be sleeping on the couch shortly after that.
It's true though. It's true though. That's what a 4-year-old's supposed to do. You can't let them get away with it all the time. Sometimes it's not appropriate. So your approach to that behavior of that person is what's going to change the outcome.
Yeah,
right?
I agree 100%.
And how do you get there? You think about yourself. What am I doing?
So and most of the listeners by now know that I'm huge on quotes, and I love reading. And one of the things that it's one of the big quotes that I have, kind of embedded in my mind. It stuck with me a while back. Is Steve Jobs saying, and I'm butchering this, but the census here was he said, I stand in front of my mirror every single morning and I look back at myself and I say to myself, if today was the last day of my life, would I be satisfied with what I've done? And the answer is no. Too many days in a row, there's time for a change. And it's very simple and self-reflecting way of really initiating the necessary change, because if you are okay with what is happening, well, then perhaps there's no need to change. And if your life is still miserable, then you just don't see it.
Or if the life of people around you is miserable, right? What kind of impact are you having because you think everything's good?
Yeah.
Right. So take the time, look within yourself, figure it out. And if changes are necessary, make them.
Yep. The general knows what he's talking about.
Absolutely.
Listen to the episode with Fabio Gurgel. I mean, one of the pioneers of what we do and what we love, Brazilian Jiu Jitsu. There's many book referrals and many quotes in that episode, and just a lot of wisdom. This was one of the better conversations we've done in a while. So I encourage you guys to take a listen. Take a moment and listen to that episode. And then don't forget, the monthly giveaways are still going. That's going strong, and the list of people that are enrolling is growing quite a bit. I don't know what's going out on the internet, but recently we've got like a huge intake of people rolling in.
Yeah.
So, which is great. Take advantage of it. I mean, why wouldn't you? Fuji's hooking us up every single month. Why are you laughing?
I'm laughing because I'm about to tell everybody that they should not try and pad the odds in their favor.
Oh,
it's one submission. It's not one every episode. It's one submission. We do weed out. The people that take it more than once. Obviously.
Maybe we should create a separate context for the people who submit the most amount of times.
They give us a gi. Yeah, but check it out. Everybody who's gotten one of these.
But the more important part is this. Listen, if you submitted your name 6 months ago and you're hoping to get your gi without doing anything, you're wrong. You need to listen to the episode. You need to check your emails. We might be reaching out to you, but you have to listen to find out.
Listen and open up emails from me. I know that could be scary. You're worried about what you might get. But yeah, open up that email. It could be you. I'm not emailing you otherwise. There's a pretty good chance you're not getting anyone's getting an email from me if it's not about the Fuji giveaway.
All right. So, shall we wrap this up?
Wrap it up. Peace.
All right. Later.
Thank you for listening to Raw Radio. If you enjoyed the show, don't forget to leave us a review and help us make the show even more amazing. For future episodes, check out our website and follow us on all major podcast platforms. Take care.